going now.
The face that Zico just made when he saw Arcane Ellie Resto Druid, it was just pure disgust. He was like, what is this comp that they've selected? Tempo Storm, I think, are still a little bit rattled. They might be overthinking the matchup. I mean, Wizards do normally do well against the Windwalker Death Knight. Let's see how they perform in this matchup. Bila catching Minpoike out of form with that incapacitate into the leg sweep. Jamie jumps over to knock Balia away into a polymorph. Good tag team there from Jamie and Alec to field for Minpoike, but that's a ton of damage out of nowhere. Minpoike is forced to use both Barkskin and Ironbark to survive this initial assault.
That was Touch of Death and Serenia committed by Balia, though. I don't mind this composition too much coming in from Temple Storm. It's going to be really difficult for Balia and Croto to find a target as they manage to grip in Minpoike into an incapacitate. Alec might be forced into the ice block. And Windwalker DK Nation has found a surprising amount of damage very early on.
They can just run Minpoike down. He's got no Barkskins. If they just stay on top of him, he's managed to displace and create some distance. Croto, ride to Croto, anti-magic zone. He's got Icebound Fortitude. He's choosing to be greedy. He's also playing Unholy, so he doesn't have the immediate reset of health. He's just going to hang out, wait for it, maybe make a Death Grip swap to Minpoike, but they're running out of time. 15 seconds until that Barkskin. Maybe they're just going to play it out, go after the mage a bit here. Seems like that is the plan as Bila moves over, but Burley's caught in the center of the map into a polymorph. Jamie trying to get some counter pressure. Burley's out of the polymorph. He's moving towards Minpoike. Curious to see what he really wants to do. Maybe a cap totem out of an incapacitate. We're going to have to wait and see. A leg sweep instead, but Minpoike manages to sneak into bear form. That's going to completely negate this swap. Good read. Alec is kiting away. Tempo Storm are diffusing the situation despite being put so far behind early on.
Yeah, Croto really doesn't have too much left to work with. He has the AMS. If they can force that out, it's going to be danger time for him. He's just having such a difficult time actually finding a target in this matchup. Full polymorph going to be secured by Alec. Very nicely done, but Croto on top of him. Alec really not going to be able to get out too much pressure as most of that arcane damage is AoE. Full Cyclone secured by Minpoike now. Croto trades out the AMS. Mark of Alanith gets cast out as they try to reconnect to their target. Big pressure onto this Death Knight. Alec gets gripped in though. Temporal Shield active for him. Is he going to be able to hold on to it? Balia gets swapped to. It's going to be his Touch of Karma onto Jamie. So now, Windwalker DK Nation may be running out of time.
Yeah, I mean, Alec doesn't have any real defense either, so it could just be a race to the finish. Bila getting cloned away, Minpoike trying to use crowd control to buffer the damage and allow his HOTS to top off his mage. Minpoike moving in to bash Balia. Surprisingly not seeing a trinket here, even with his healer in a polymorph. That greedy play could cost the game. He manages to portal back behind the pillar. Should be able to hold on. They managed to get Burley's trinket as well from that attempt. We are likely to see Bila play mostly defensive, I think. We see Arcane Power pop as they're trying to exploit the positioning of Croto in the center of the map. Tempo Storm have good triangle position, 40-yard distance between all three members. Burley getting counterspelled, Croto dipping low, trades out the anti-magic shield. Bila now in a position with no cooldowns. He's just going to gun for a kill with the double stun, double trinket overlap from Tempo Storm. Now that's an opening potentially for Windwalker DK Nation to abuse moving forward.
Yeah, that was a Touch of Death. Serenity still going to be available for Balia, but a hacks over onto Burley. Croto gets slower. Spiritling Totem is forced out as well as the AMZ, so big overlap there for Windwalker DK Nation, but honestly can't blame them. That was such a scary moment. Now Croto once again trying to find his target, trying to get onto that Ride the Wind so get rid of those snares and get back onto this pesky Arcane Mage. Poike playing very far away, so they can't get the grip double stuns. Balia and Croto rotting down. Jamie's been doing a good job creating pressure, and Balia, with no Touch of Karma, gets caught into the middle of the map. Big pressure coming in from Alec with the arcane missiles. Tempo Storm, I don't know, although this composition isn't necessarily the most standard, I don't think it's the worst pick in Windwalker DK.
The third team to make it to the LAN, now just breaking out a crazy composition. Zico, what did you think of this comp overall? Obviously, it's able to grab the win. What do you think about it moving forward in this series?
I think they should keep playing it the entire series. It's a good composition. Really, the only win condition on the side of Windwalker DK Nation is to catch Minpoike without Trinket and try to burst him down 100-0. But I mean, it's really, really hard to do. Of course, Minpoike can stay on max range and try to pre-bear those incapacitates. And of course, Alec on that Arcane Mage is going to be a very difficult target to take down. And as well as Jamie on that Elemental Shaman. And if the game goes long, you have a Resto Druid versus a Shaman matchup as well. So you're going to be winning on that mana lead as well. So this is a great pick.
We saw them try to go for Poike as well, and he was able to stay at max range quite a bit. Poike really seemed like he was fine for the most part there, Supatis. What do you think Windwalker DK Nation can do differently if this is the matchup that we see play out again?
I mean, they could try to just wait out their cooldowns, wait for Touch of Karma to be available, and just focus on playing defensively until that point in time. And maybe try to drag the fight out into dampening and purge kill later on. We've seen Cubsy's team from North America do that with their kind of shaman-based compositions. They just save all their mana. They don't purge early on. They wait till they get into dampening, and then they go for a purge, all-in attempt for a kill. That's definitely one option for them. The first game, I mean, it looked really good at the start. They got Ice Block, Trinket, Bark Skin. It was a really good start for Windwalker DK Nation, and then ultimately Jamie and Alex started doing too much damage for them to be able to stay in the center of the map, and they got forced away.
Well, my big question is right now, then you kind of mentioned as soon as we were jumping in, and for obvious reasons, you go, Tempo Storm's probably a little bit rattled. Do you think at this point maybe they're not as rattled knowing that they're going to be making it to LAN?
I think that's a good position to be in for sure. All of a sudden you're safe, and what you do, it matters, but it doesn't matter that much. It's mostly for seeding and prize money at this point. But you got to be feeling good, knowing you're going to the LAN, because that's obviously going to be their objective moving forward to actually earn that spot to BlizzCon.
That's quite a roller coaster, to be completely honest. The quick succession of that, just getting destroyed, and then all of a sudden you find out that you're going to LAN.
These guys are veterans. You would hope at this point, you know, playing in tournaments for this long, they get owned like that. Hopefully they can go back to the drawing board, sort of do a reset, maybe take a break, do something to sort of get that mindset out where, okay, we got destroyed that series. Doesn't really matter. We need to move forward. We need to work our way through the lower bracket. If we go against Method Black again, it's not going to be till the grand finals. And that's quite the journey to get there. So they can kind of just forget about that series.
Well, they get a confidence booster right now as well. And we are going to see Tempo Storm here. This is interesting. Sika, what do you think of this?
I think it's a good answer. It's an enhanced shaman. Okay, that makes it a little bit more interesting. I thought it was an alley.
Still a good decision.
I mean,
are they just toying with Windwalker DK Nation? Is that what they're doing here?
No, I don't think so at all. I think that this is, for some reason, their default comp. Maybe they have had success with this in the past. Outlaw definitely a good pick for stalling out these games. You have a lot of disruption. You can gouge up that Windwalker. You have all the ranged stuns. And Outlaw in general is pretty good against Resto Shaman teams because you can consistently swap between whoever has the Earth Shield and the Resto Shaman and create windows that way. So I can see how Tempo Storm would win this matchup, but I feel like they already had a really good composition. I don't understand why they switched it.
Yeah, this isn't exactly a game of trading here in this series. They're literally called Windwalker DK Nation, not Multicomp Nation.
Multicomp City.
Multicomp City. That's edgy. That's going to be our team's name.
Yep.
All four of us until Adrian gets back, and there'll be you three and Adrian. but for now, Multicomp City. Viva la Multicomp City. But Tempo Storm here, they're going to switch up their comp, even though they did get the win. Super Tease, what does this telegraph to you about them switching up the comp?
I mean, they might just be feeling it out. They're going to face XRB tomorrow, and XRB can play Windwalker Death Knight too. So this might be a bit of like a test for them to see what is their best comps into Windwalker DK if they see that situation tomorrow. But they are risking a good seed potentially by just testing comps out. Like if they lose this and suddenly it's a bit of an arrogant maneuver to try and test the comps like this, but at the same time, it is going to allow them to feel out XRB potentially into the future if they can maintain this.
That was kind of my question. Are they toying with him? Are they using this as simply practice here when their tournament lives are on the line? Yes, they've made it to LAN, but they still have a very long tournament ahead of them unless Windwalker DK Nation can punish potential arrogance here. We don't fully know their intent, but Windwalker DK Nation now needs to tie up this series.
No, they do, and I think they have the tools ahead of them. With the Resto Shaman, they can go all in with the offensive purges. We've seen this from Method Orange before, as well as Windwalker DK Nation. Jamie's going to be an excellent target. He does have the ethereal form, which makes him immune to physical damage on a low cooldown, but he's not going to be able to get any sort of counter pressure while that's going on.
All right, Byla, double stun combo here from Windwalker DK Nation as they lead the charge towards Jamie. Ironbark from Minpoike is going to deflect the kill as Jamie now pulls the trigger on that Doomwind's Bloodlust, going after Krodo, who exchanges his Icebound Fortitude and Anti-Magic Shield. Both teams just going head-to-head. Both teams reluctant to start kiting or go defensive as this cleave setup is going to be ending here very quickly, I expect.
Yeah, no question about it. And keep in mind, Nixie, he does have the plunder armor, so anyone that trinkets could be in big trouble. AMZ going to be traded out. Burley to keep himself alive. Minpoike gets gripped in, displaces away immediately. So Minpoike is not in any real threat in this current position. He can just keep full hots on Jamie. And now Kroto's the one who's taking most of the damage with the between the eye stun onto him, incapacitated onto Minpoike still. Jamie just not taking any damage at this point of the game.
All right, we see Minpoike caught into an asphyxiate as Jamie is on the run. Does not want to trade ethereal form for any cooldown, so he's trying to buy time. Nixie gets paralysis away. He's not going to be able to stun lock or chase after anybody. Kroto, though, is an exposed target. If they get some crowd control into Burley, maybe a blind stun the trinket, they could go after Kroto quite easily, but not really attempting it just yet. Just using the stuns on Balia, trying to buy more time. Maybe cleave down Burley. They might even go after him. He's kind of stacked up on the team. Man is actually in favor of Burley, which is peculiar. Kroto grips him in Minpoike, but Kroto gets stunned by Nixie for the peel. Balia follows up with a double stun of his own. Nixie opts to trinket out and peel. Fist of Fury to follow it up. Minpoike with a well-timed artifact, though, has his team completely topped off. Both these teams now more evenly matched. And it's looking like this actually could be going on for quite a bit if these teams keep playing so defensively. Jamie pulls the trigger. There's the Doom Winds. Anti-Magic Shield is absorbing a lot of this. Nixie's going for a solo kill on Burley with the triple stuns. Jamie could switch his target. He gets Fist of Fury away from Balia. Nixie, now tricketing earlier, is getting punished for that move. He's going to cloak, gain a lot of health. Iron Bark was used as well. Now Burley caught into a gouge. Kroto dipping low. Not sure how much longer Kroto can hang on.
Yeah, I'm not sure as well, but Nixie did commit the plunder armor there onto Burley. He didn't have to trinket. All he got was the Astral Shift, so that's a very fair trade for Burley, who has an Earth Shield on himself right now. Kroto might take a little bit of damage. Balia, actually, in this 1v1 situation against Jamie, is ultimately losing. Full Cyclone coming in from Minpoike as well. Blind now onto Burley. As Kroto gets caught into a stun, he can't get out. Do they have any follow-ups? You see Burley trinket Link. Did they kill the Link Totem? They actually killed the Link Totem and got the sap on his trinket, so Burley's still in that crowd control, but ultimately that trinket Link will keep his team alive for the time being.
Balia caught into a stun as they switch to him. Burley pops Ascendance. Very well timed. Minpoike's trying to move into crowd control it. He's going to bash it, but now he's walked into a Windwalker Death Knight. He's trying to retreat away from that stack. Kroto caught into a stun with no trinket. Burley's got a lot of work ahead of him. He's trying to get the healing waves. He gets kicked by Nixie, and Nixie has been on fire this game with control. The kick into the clone, and Kroto's hanging on by a thread. Death Strike after Death Strike to stay alive. Anti-Magic Zone buys him another Death Strike. Burley is still crowd controlled as Kroto is clinging onto life. Burley now into a stun. The Anti-Magic Zone is fading as Tempo Storm leads the charge, leading this series 2-0. You can tell that they're kind of just playing with Windwalker DK Nation, switching up their comps and trying to figure out their strategy for XRB tomorrow, as they know XRB could play Windwalker Death Knight.
Tempo Storm is toying with their food right now. Windwalker DK Nation, when we first got here today, one of the big things that we wanted to tell all of you guys was, hey, anybody can qualify. Windwalker DK Nation, though, is about to be taken out of the tournament, and if they are, of course, their land dream will die there. Tempo Storm, like Super T said, they're kind of toying with their food here. They want to see how far that they can go in this tournament, but they already know that they're going to land. Zico, how convincing did this game really kind of make you feel about the entire series?
I mean, they didn't really force out anything on the side of Tempo Storm, and Jamie playing the ethereal form is definitely a very clever talent choice for him. Makes him a very difficult target for Windwalker DK Nation to take down. Outlaw Rogue by himself is already going to be a very difficult target to take down, and Minpoike, of course, also going to be a very difficult target to take down, especially when he has Nixie who can help him out with those gouges and those stuns. So it felt like a very controlled game. This felt like another really good answer for Tempo Storm against Windwalker DK. So it feels like they have two essential counter comps against this setup. And Windwalker DK Nation, they have a tall order ahead of them.
What do you think they play here? Do you think they test a third potential counter out, or do you think they go back to the drawing board and try that first comp against Zico?
I think they should try the comp that they're unsure about. If they think that Outlaw Enhance might be better, but they don't know really, then they should just keep playing Outlaw Enhance and figure it out. Otherwise, I think Mage Ellie has a really good time against this. I don't see the Mage Ellie dying unless they make a massive defensive overlap, or they push in too hard or something.
Could just be a map thing. Like on large maps, go with the Wizards. On smaller maps, go with the Cleave setup.
That's definitely true.
They also might be wondering if Outlaw Enhance is better into Lock Shaman Druid too. If it's good into Lock Shaman Druid and good into Windwalker DK, you've got a comp that's good into XRB period. So maybe it's better for them to have this comp, and Minpoik can switch between Druid and Mistweaver, depending on if it's Lock Shaman or if it's Windwalker DK. This might be the comp that Tempo Storm uses to beat XRB tomorrow.
Well, this Outlaw Enhanced comp, too, it didn't really get tested super hard in that last game, did it? I feel like there's a little bit to... This isn't a perfect test, right? You know, when you did your science fair project back in the day, I think that if this was the extent of testing your hypothesis, you'd probably get a C-. There wasn't that much of a test coming in there. I don't think this proves that much as of yet. Yes, this composition got them in a place where they could firmly grab the driver's wheel, but will that be the same against XRB if that's what they're trying to find out? I don't know. They get one more game, though, get to broaden that sample size a little bit, but I'm not 100% sold. I do want to see more from Tempo Storm on this comp.
I do as well, and I think Windwalker DK Nation is playing it intelligently. They're actually going to be switching from Unholy to the Frost Death Knight. That could give them the capability to just run down Minpoike. If they can get to Minpoike, basically what happens is they can get to Minpoike before he uses his displacement, before you use the Death Grip, incapacitate, ride the wind, they dogpile on him. If you can get the Death Grip on top of him after he uses his displacement, you can just ride him from start to finish with the Delirium, with the offensive purges, and honestly, Nixie and Jamie, I don't know if they're going to have enough help to really slow down Windwalker DK Nation.
Is that the plan? Go straight for Minpoike's throat?
Yeah, that's probably the most likely target to die, but with a Frost DK as well, Ethereal form isn't as effective, so they could find more pressure onto Jamie, which kind of opens up Minpoike getting caught out of form more often. So I think in general it's a good adaptation to switch over to Frost.
Did Jamie even use Ethereal form?
He didn't. That's why I was saying it wasn't tested. Yeah, that's why I was saying that it literally wasn't tested. Yeah, I mean, like Shift, Ethereal form doesn't matter. Last time we didn't really see them defensively get tested. I think the last time we casted, this is just a fun fact, I think the last time we casted over Ethereal form was in Kiev like a year ago. We were casting together. I think that's like the last time that we saw it. We don't see it coming out.
We all forgot what it was called.
Yeah, we were literally in the back going, it's ethereal shape? Ethereal body? Ethereal. But ultimately, Tempo Storm is going to just say, hey, Windwalker DK Nation, not only are we messing around with compositions, we don't even want to jump into the arena. And we're going to remake this and make sure that everything is good to go. But yeah, I mean, we don't see Ethereal form as a talent every single day here. Supatis, do you think that Windwalker DK Nation on this tiny map with the Frost change is going to be able to potentially grab more defensive cooldowns? Or are they going to get to test Tempo Storm more?
I mean, I think Minpoike, normally as a Druid, it is pretty terrifying if Windwalker DK just run at you the whole game, but he has an Outlaw Rogue, as Zico said, that can stun lock the DPS. He can gouge up the Shaman. Most importantly, stopping Burley. If the Druid isn't getting purged, it's really easy to tank Windwalker DK. If he's getting purged, then it becomes almost impossible to survive. So because the Outlaw Rogue has so much instant crowd control, they can remove any target. They can remove the Shaman from the game, basically, and remove Purge as an option. I think Minpoike is going to have a lot of backup. This is probably one of the best comps you could heal as a Druid to save you from being just run down by Windwalker DK.
This is also potentially the last game of the day. This could be the decider of this series, and then also the decider of who our top 4 teams truly are going to be tomorrow when we get here for Championship Sunday. Just a quick reminder, since we did have to reform, these are the compositions that we are going to be seeing on your screen right now when we do actually jump into Dalaran Sewers, and it's looking like this just may be enough to decide it, Ben.
Yeah, I mean, Tempo Storm, they won the last 2 games. That last game looked really convincing. Windwalker DK Nation, like you said, really struggled to find pressure, so they have to change something up. Croto, he went over the Frost specialization. Hopefully that is enough to at least force some defenses from Tempo Storm.
Well, we're about to find out. The gates are about to open. Tempo Storm already secured their spot to land. Will they secure their spot in Championship Sunday?
All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's been an awesome day of Arena World of Warcraft action, and we're going to end it with a ton of damage, basically, from both of these teams running melee cleaves into each other. It's going to be a lot of damage, start to finish. Gates are about to open. Ben, do you think they can do it? Do you think Valia and Croto can do it?
I believe in the Windwalker DK Nation Dream. Valia is going to be charging in, actually get sapped. That's going to slow down their opener quite a bit. Nixie doing a good job, and Minpoike riding that wind to the boxes, so he's going to be getting knocked out. Earthen Shield Totem's going to be committed immediately as Jamie looks to find some damage. Croto finds Minpoike, and this is the strategy I was talking about. If Croto can connect, if he can death grip the displacement from Minpoike, it's going to be so scary for him to actually survive.
All right, and Poike used Dash to bait Death Grip and then used Displacer right as the Death Grip hit him. That's a good escape for Minpoike. He used Iron Bark with his Trinket rather than Barkskin because he can use Barkskin in a stun. That's a fair start for Minpoike. It is leaving a bit of an opening, though, if they can keep these swaps going. Balia is all over him, catching him into a Fist of Fury. Frodo's going for split damage on Jamie. 2 targets dangerously low. Minpoike trades out Barkskin before the stun lock with the Death Knight. If they just get on him Minpoike, he's just going to go down. He's used all of his defensive cooldowns. Burley just needs to get on top of Minpoike with his team. They need to go, use the Spirit Link, use the Icebound, and just run him down. They've got one opening to get a kill.
Yeah, Balius is going to be harassing Minpoike as much as he can. You can bet Burley's going to be offensively purging Jamie, so Crota can get some damage onto him. There's the leg sweep on him. Minpoike, though. Fist of Fury stun comes in. Fortunately, Croto's not there to finish the job. Minpoike manages to displace away, barely surviving there. Nicely done by Nixie coming back and helping out Minpoike just a little bit. But if Crota was there, it was good by Minpoike. Stun now over onto Burley. He doesn't have a trinket. Can Nixie and Jamie find the damage to take him down in the cheap shot? Doesn't look like it just yet. Nice defensive play coming in from Crota with that blinding sheet.
All right, Minpoike bear forms the stun. Good play. He's got Iron Bark. He's going to trade that out and kite away from Burley as they're all on top of him. It's a race to the finish. Is Burley just going to go all in? He gets gouged away, denying the nice vortex there. Not getting both of the melee off of Minpoike by placing that on the bottom. Sick positioning from Minpoike. One of the best druids in Europe, showcasing it there, just diffusing a situation that might have been his end, but ultimately getting caught. And Croto's riding the wind over. Barkskin might not be enough. If Burley can get the purges in, they need to take him down. Silence denies the displacer beats. He's on 10%. He goes for the Typhoon, but they're still DR'd from the vortex. Minpoike blinks down. He gets paralysis. Croto's going to reconnect. Burley jumps in. Minpoike's got nothing left. He gouges Burley to deny the purges. If he gets any purges, Minpoike's going to fall. They stun up Croto. They look for the counter kill. Minpoike's on 10%, but Croto could fall as well. Fist of Fury trinkets out, but he's going to fall to Bila. Minpoike gets taken down in Windwalker DK Nation. They changed the station on the radio channel to stay in this tournament, managing to put at least 1 point on the board against Tempo Storm.
That's what I'm saying. Windwalker DK Nation, when in doubt, run of the healer, and ultimately it will pay off for them in game number 3, keeping their tournament dreams alive.
Can they get the reverse sweep, though? Ultimately, we saw for a while Tempo Storm feeling really comfortable. They're messing around with compositions. Let's see which one's the best, but ultimately here, all of a sudden, the script has been flipped, Zico.
Yeah, and I think that this was a nice adaptation from Windwalker DK. Definitely like the Frost Death Knight more than Unholy Death Knight in this matchup. Get more magic damage, you get more ranged damage as well, or ranged burst I should say, as well as that Pillar of Frost burst during those setups. So if you catch Minpoike, you have that Pillar of Frost to force out the trinket, then you still have those Monk cooldowns to try to finish the job later. So I like that a lot.
What do you think the chances are that we go to Tolvaron Arena and we see some
Yeah.
being played by Tempo Storm? I feel like it's going to be pretty high. And
Yeah, I think that is a very, very likely scenario to happen for our next game. Probably Mage Ellie, Tolvaron Arena, max range, but I'm not entirely sure actually. They could. Is Ashaman still open? I think it is, right?
Yep.
They could still also pick Ashamans, which is more than enough for a wizard matchup like that. So there's a lot of options here on Tempo Storm's side. They can pick a lot of things here.
I want to see Windwalker DK Nation just try to sit him in Poike for the rest of this series. Try to get that reverse sweep that way. It seems to be the strategy that works. Yes, it's going to be harder on some of the other maps, but Super T's, that's really what I want to see them try to do.
It's probably the best target. Maybe, I don't think you can kill the Outlaw Rogue, but the Enhancement Shaman could be a target, and that's why we saw them split. I mean, Croto can't stay on the Druid the whole game. If they're peeling him and stunning him and gouging him and denying death grips, it's really difficult for him. So Croto just splits on the Enhancement Shaman and makes his way to the Druid throughout the game. That's going to be his best option. And then Bila gets supported by Burley with Purges. They can both get a high mobility with Gust of Wind and Ghost Wolf. They tag team together on the Druid to remove Hots, force him to come out of bear form to heal the Death Knight. And with that split, they can catch Minpoike out of form a lot more often.
All right, so maybe that is just the way to catch him in Poike out of form, being able to get the biggest damage onto him. The main thing that we want to see, what's the map going to be? That's going to start to be the indicator of what composition they're going to play as well. And that's why Zico mentioned maybe they just do Ashmane's Fall, because you don't want to necessarily telegraph. If you do Tolvaron, we know that we're getting Wizards.
Yeah, and I mean, even if they pick Ashamane's, it's somewhat telegraphed, but I think the issue with Tolvaron is that because of the size of those pillars, it's kind of easy for one team that is disadvantageous going out in the open to just kind of stay there, wait for dampening, and then they can maybe do a purge all in with a full mana bar. We've seen that being very effective in the end. So if you go too big, it could definitely be problematic here, and they are going to be picking Tolveron Arena, so we most likely going to be seeing that Mage Elemental come out from Tempo.
That's as big as it gets. They're going straight to Tolveron Arena here, and yeah, we definitely do expect to see that comp switch back to what we saw a little bit earlier in the series, but Windwalker DK Nation starts to pick up steam. Is it too late? That is the question. One win for them right now, and still the next game could be the last one if Tempo Storm closes this out. Windwalker DK Nation, no surprise there. Windwalker DK, but Croto is going to be staying on Frost, Elliot.
I think it's intelligent. If they're going to be training down Alec in this matchup, having that Delirium, which reduces the effectiveness of Blink, or at least gives it a longer cooldown, will obviously help them get a little bit more mobility in this matchup, but I think they have their hands full with this matchup. I do kind of agree with Zico here. I think they have a few different options. If they can manage to stay on him in Poike and run him down, that's option number one. The other option is to kind of stall out the game, wait until dampening, and go for that all-in with the purges, ultimately take someone down.
Yeah, I think if you're Windwalker DK Nation here too, you kind of know that you don't have anything to lose, right? You know that you...
Well, you got a lot to lose.
Well, you do, but no, here's what I mean.
Okay.
It's like one of those scenarios where it's like, they have to go for such a crazy run here. The pressure's almost off. Even though the pressure is on, you know that it's this Hail Mary, and you just go as hard as you can and just try to pick up the win. I don't feel like they're probably in a place of this crazy stress. It's not like they're one game away from doing it. They have to be looking just at this series, and I feel like looking at it in little steps almost makes it in this situation where they don't have as much pressure. Tempo Storm definitely doesn't have to feel the pressure here at this point. That's why we see them kind of trying out these different compositions time and time again, trying to figure out how they move farther and farther in this tournament to accumulate a bigger prize pool and also to get that better seeding, Sid.
I think it's one of those moments where the saying goes, keep it simple, stupid. I feel like Windwalker Death Knight just needs to keep it simple. Just run it in Poike. I mean, the worst thing that's going to happen is Alec has to poly you to peel and you heal back to full instead of rotting down. I feel like going after him in Poike is just the best strat overall, and that's what the comp is known for. Sure, it's going to be really risky. Sure, it's the worst map. Sure, you're on match point and about to go home if you lose, but I feel like that's really the only target they're going to find a kill on.
That's exactly what I was saying, because I feel like other Windwalker DKs, when we see them try to get cheeky, when they really feel the pressure and they're like, oh, this is where a map where Windwalker DK really falls behind, let's try to go for dampening or something like that. That is really when the comp gets punished, but now the gates are open. Will Windwalker DK be able to train down Min Poike?
We'll have to see. Croto and Valia, they're going to be moving in on Jamie, it looks like. Maybe opting to go for the Elemental Shaman instead of the Arcane Mage in this matchup. Incapacitate on him in Poike as they look to find some damage on him. Bash over on the Balia. The Incapacitate broke, unfortunately, there for Balia, so he wasn't able to get that full leg sweep on him in Poike. I'm actually very curious as to know what happened there.
Well, Balia is going to ride the wind. Croto could tag onto that ride the wind if he wants to. He's just choosing to take it slow. He doesn't want any help from his team. And Poike gets stunned out of form. Croto pulls the trigger. Race walk immediately onto target. They're going to race against the Barkskin. This is, I think, a mistake by Minpoike to not shrink it, getting stunned out of form. They could potentially all in him if Burley spams out the purges. Minpoike needs to create distance. He gets gripped into a blind. He can easily displace their beast away from this now, though. He should be able to get to safety. Displaces across the map, but he had to use Trinket, Barskin, and Ironbark. And Windwalker DK Nation, they are not letting off the gas pedal. Ride the wind, touch of death, Fists of Fury. Philo wants to put Minpoike in the ground, and this is easily going to be the end of the game. Touch of death explodes. Minpoike gets destroyed, and we're going to game 5.
That's what I was talking about there. Yep. And they're able to do it. 2-2. We're going all the way to game 5. Could we see a reverse sweep coming in from Windwalker DK Nation? I'm on board right now.
I feel like Jamie could have helped him a little bit more. Like I feel like an optimal talent choice in this matchup is playing that Voodoo Totem. So when they get those setups, full stuns on Minpoike, he actually can be a little bit more greedy, especially if they can break up the stun locks with the Voodoo Totem.
Deny the area.
I think it's a lot better. You already have the snares coming in from the Arcane Mages and some of the Novas as well. So if Minpoike really is the only pressure point, I think that talent in and of itself is probably their best option.
I think that greed is one of the big words here. Maybe a little bit of lack of respect for your opponent too, not thinking that they're going to be capable, testing out these weird little compositions, things like that. Ultimately now they go back to Tolveron, and Windwalker DK Nation has struck fire.
I think that Tempo Storm just picks Ashamains, pick the same comp, and this time around, in Poike, when you see Touch of Death, Pillar of Frost, the DK with AMS on you, your character is not made out of titanium. You're out of bear form. that means trinket, blink, trinket, dash, do what you gotta do, but press them early so you can save that iron bark. And then if they keep chasing you, you have that iron bark to fall back on. And the last thing I'm gonna say is you definitely do not wanna get the second stun when you're 30% out of form again. You have to track your own DR better. That means that when you're stunned, you know, okay, I can't be stunned now for about 18 seconds. That's 18 seconds where I'm not going to be in bear form. I'm going to throw out hots. I'm going to get my my healing rolling. And then after that, I am going to be sitting in bear form as soon as that DR is ready again. And this is the moment that I'm talking about here. He's on stun DR for a little bit, but he goes out, miscalculates it, and he gets stunned by Baila, out of form. Touch of Death is going to tick down, and it's gonna be enough.
And that's the main thing, too, with Resto Druid, right? The entire thing is knowing when you can be caught out of form and when you can't be. And Windwalker DK Nation does play it perfectly. They do manage to catch him out of form. They're able to get all that damage in. And like you said, your skin's not made out of titanium, but you want to save that iron bark in your back pocket for after that first go, potentially even. Supatis, do you think Windwalker DK Nation here, once again, just needs to go for that strategy? Play Frost, gun at Minpoike, regardless of what the map is.
I mean, I think so. I don't know. I feel like Alec and Jamie are both so difficult to really just lock down that you waste so much time just even trying to hit them. Whereas on the Druid, at least, you've only got to deal with maybe one gap closer. Obviously, Jamie and Alec could have supported Minpoike better, changing the Voodoo Totem to just crowd control all three members of Burley's on top of him. Spamming Purge would have been a good choice. But at the same time, then it DRs your poly, so you can't guarantee peels later on. I just think it's the best strat because the Arcane Mage Ellie doesn't have a stun. They rely on rotting the team down over time, but they can't if Alec has to polymorph them to save Minpoike. And attacking the Druid, eventually you are going to have to polymorph somebody if they're on him like that. So I just think it's the best strat, run it to Druid.
Well, I agree it is the best strat for sure, but I also think that, and I agree with the Voodoo Totem thing as well, for sure, Voodoo Totem is the best thing to pick here for Jamie, but I also think that it comes down to simple things like targeting too, because when Burley is running around in the open all across the map, when he does that against someone like Zipai, he's going to drop to 20%. But in this matchup, he's just having free range, just running out in the open, just crossing the map. And Minpoike played on one pillar first, then he switched side to another pillar. And actually, I think he should just be in bear form, out in the open. And then as soon as Burley comes out and leaves his pillar, Jamie and Alec can just decimate Burley, force him to go back. And that in itself is going to force the Windwalker DK to go back because they can't stay out in the open, use AMS and all that stuff to stick on Minpoike, and then they're just gonna die.
Look, the thing is with Windwalker DK Nation now, they get it to this game 5. That's ridiculous. Yeah. They get to sit on a healer. We talk about the things with sitting on a healer. Why do Windwalker DKs sometimes question it? Because even if you have a really good game, sometimes it doesn't work out. But the advantage of it is the fact that you sit on the healer is sometimes it also does when it shouldn't. It is a very volatile and explosive way to play the game. They got to game 5. They now at least get to have that volatile thing. It could work out in their favor. Tempo Storm are going to, they had a 2-0 victory, and now they find themselves in this position that they have to worry in the first place. You know, Tempo Storm being a team that just found out that they got to land, sure, they have that confidence boost back. Now I'd be pretty deflated going into this, knowing that I am going to have Minpoike just sat on if I'm Tempo Storm, starting to throw inside of this series. If I'm Windwalker DK Nation, I am screaming louder than I'm screaming right now in the comms, excited about trying to take this one. And Tempo Storm right now, Zico, they started to do what you said they might do. Ash mains fall, most likely Arcane Ellie comes in here, but Windwalker DK Nation, they were able to do it on Tolvaron. If Tempo Storm doesn't make some big changes, they're just going to do it on Ash mains fall. They're probably even going to do it a little bit quicker.
Okay, this is also a pretty decent matchup. We saw this from Noble in the US. They played Outlaw, Resto Druid, Elemental Shaman into Sea-Doo, into Method Orange, and that was the first time they ever beat Sea-Doo. And this is a counter for Windwalker DK is Warrior, Elemental, Shaman, and Resto Druid. This is pretty much the same thing, except you have an Outlaw Rogue, which is going to be stalling out the game a little bit better, but it's going to be applying a little bit less pressure. So that means Tempo Storm are going to play a long game here, most likely, before they can win, which also means that a long game means more times where Minpoike essentially can be caught out of bear form and get, you know, all in. So it's a risky pick, but I mean, it's a good one. In theory, this matchup is advantageous against Windwalker DK.
If played really well, this can basically be Thunder, but better in this matchup. It really is. That's straight up what it is. I think the thing is, though, that you pointed out that's really, really important to think about, it's just more goes for Minpoike to be all in on. Do you think that really might be the story of this final game of the day?
It might be, but Nixie and Jamie, they have a lot of support for him to keep him alive. And sort of talking about that Method Orange matchup that we saw, where it was Noble versus Method Orange. Noble had selected this composition, and Method Orange actually didn't play Windwalker DK. They played DH Windwalker instead because they didn't think it was a favorable matchup. So that's something to kind of note, is that Method Orange saw this composition and said, yo, we're not playing Windwalker DK into that. And now Tempo Storm's in a favorable spot where they get that matchup.
And no shade here at all. No shade at all. Method Orange, probably the better Windwalker DK.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, look,
Oh, yeah.
Windwalker
No
DK.
shade, though.
Yeah, no, it's no shade, right? But the thing is this isn't Tempo Storm's main composition either. So there are so many variables here when we have to think about this.
I mean, they're all three mains at least.
I
mean, it's pretty close
They're
to us. Main
not
composition.
Method Black is what he's trying to say.
I
wanted to do that without shade. I was just
No,
trying.
read between the lines, guys. Come on.
Yes, we've seen these compositions play out even against each other, but with completely different teams. I mean, that's one of the main things that you really do have to be thinking about in these tournaments. It is so crazy how different one player can make the entire pacing of how you want to play the comp. The synergy between players can make it so a comp is actually just terrible. Going into this one, there are a lot of question marks for me, but it is going to be the last game of the day. Let's see how this one gets closed out. Will it be Tempo Storm or Windwalker DK Nation making it to the top 4 of the final EU Cup of the summer season?
I think Nixie is probably the best player on Tempo Storm in this series, and it's a good thing that they're putting him in Game 5. And Poike needs to step it up. He's getting caught out of form way too much, not in good positions, bad cooldown management against all-ins. If Poike can polish up his play, Nixie plays on fire, they're easily going to walk away with this series. They need to not be rattled. And Poike's in stealth. This is a great start for Nixie, snapping up the Death Knight, getting free pressure on the Windwalker. Now switching over to the Death Knight. Burley, though, is on top of Minpoike. He gets blinded, trying to bait a trinket maybe and then swap to him out of it. Burley's not falling for the bait. He's being greedy. Violet could get punched. There's a sap out of the blind. There's now a stun out of Violet, but Jamie's too far away. He's dragging Croto way far away from Burley and trying to maybe get a solo kill. Nixie's going to pull back. And Poike gets caught out of form. Croto sees that. Immediately Wraith walks. It's an all-in attempt from Windwalker DK Nation, but the Voodoo Totem and the gouges buy Minpoike time to sit through the stun lock. Will it be enough? Barkskin has been traded out. Frenzy Regeneration and Healing Surges bounce Minpoike back to full. Now he needs to use Dash. This is when he needs to start displacing. I don't think he can stand next to the blender of the Windwalker Death Knight this long. Thunderstorm Burley out of line of sight. Minpoike dashing, no death grip. Minpoike survives.
Yeah, manages to keep himself alive. And Valia is actually playing a very all-in specialization with the Serenity. Not going to have the 2 charges. So this next stun lock, if they go for it, not going to be nearly as much damage. Nicely done by Jamie, interrupting that incapacitate. Fist of Fury go from Valia with that Earth Shock. Now a stun over onto Croto. He doesn't have a trinket available. Nice healing coming in from Burley with the Ascendant, so should be able to top up his team. Really, Tempo Storm, what they need to do is just stall out the game as long as possible. If they can survive, ultimately they will win this matchup.
Viola getting stunned up. That's a trinket touch of karma. Now he's going to have to be careful. Or maybe not. Maybe the best thing is to just run at Minpoike and pray that he dies. I mean, it's match point against Tempo Storm, and you're Windwalker DK Nation. You're just praying on a miracle to take him down. Iron Bark Frenzy Regen. Minpoike recovers. Anti-magic zone before the stun. Preemptive play from Croto. Minpoike getting caught into the stun, but he is in bear form. He should easily take this out with peels from Nixie. Nixie doing a great job to stall this game as long as possible. Minpoike tossing that Cenarian Ward, displacing back behind the pillar, line of sighting the death grip, but Croto Wraith walks over. Burley's on top of him. Barkskin's the last line, but if they can purge him down, they can easily all in him still. Voodoo Totem, stun, triple crouch control. Burley's still just going at him. They have to take him down. They might be able to do it, Ben.
Yeah, Minpoike is in so much trouble. Still just line of sighting the best he can. Valia ports over. Gets the Fist of Fury on. Burley needs to get in this line of sight to get off the defensive purges. Minpoike now changing pillars. Full blind on Valia. Can with the silence, still barely hanging on. Gets taken down. Windwalker Nation with the reverse sweep.
I'm just waiting to see this play out just to make sure nothing else happens that isn't going to give me a heart attack. They did it!
They did it.
They did it!